Hello folks, welcome to Legacy IAS Academy. In this video, we will be discussing a current affair topic presented to you by your faculty, Sushma KP. So what is the topic that we will be looking into today? China is loading 100 plus ICBMs and this has been mentioned in the Pentagon report. First and foremost, let's take this. Pentagon has shared a report wherein it has held that China has likely loaded over 100 ICBMs in the newly built silo fields. What this is, I'll tell you. But before that, let's see a background of the time that this news is coming into. What is the background of the news? See, very recently, your US President Donald Trump has held that he will go for or he is trying for denuclearization. What is the word that I'm using? He is going for denuclearization with Russia and China. That is, it is a three-way denuclearization that he wants to build with Russia and China. Understand one thing, when I say denuclearization, it does not mean abolition. It does not mean all three of them are now going to give up nuclear weapons. US will never let that happen, because at least if it's okay with all others giving up, but US will not give up. Then what is this denuclearization? Which means we will cap a limit. We will put a limit on how much can we improve our arsenal. Let's not keep adding the stockpile. This is what this denuclearization means. Initially, it used to have that with your US and Russia, but now they want to do that with China. Okay, this is the backdrop of what was happening. At this period of time, this Pentagon report is telling that China has added and loaded over 100 ICBMs in the new silos fields. Itself indicates that China is not interested in this. Yes or no? So, we have to wait and watch where it will go. This is first side of the agenda. Second side of the agenda is your US has been trying to make sure, and in the very recent summit itself, your US itself has told that in the military supremacy, the first position is occupied by USA, second position is occupied by Russia, and very far off is your China. It's in the third position, but it is still very far off. This is what your US President himself has mentioned. Now, if you see with respect to China, over the last couple years, if you see, its arsenal is capped at somewhere around 600 only. But your Pentagon report also states that they have agenda for increasing it to more than 1,000 by year 2030. Understanding? Now, if you see with respect to the capping of the START treaty, understanding that your US and Russia signs and they try to maintain a capping of somewhere around 1,550. Understanding? Now with the end of the START treaty, Russia is trying to resume. For which US has also told, US President Donald Trump has told that they will also resume the nuclear program. That is nuclear testing capacity, etc. But on what form is he mentioning? No one knows that. We have to wait and watch for that. Okay, so as of now, with China, which has loaded 100 ICBMs in the newly built silo fields, what does this word mean? Loaded over 100 ICBMs in newly built silo fields. Silo fields means it's like underground fields wherein you try to load your ICBMs and keep, wherein you can use it for protection and also you can use it for launch. Okay, earlier Pentagon report had told that China has built these kind of silo fields. But it did not tell that how many ICBMs have been loaded into it. The present report tells how many. So what are these ICBMs? ICBMs are Intercontinental Ballistic Missiles. Now these are the ones that will deliver nuclear warheads across continents, and their range is 5,500 kilometer plus. So base itself is 5,500 kilometers. So your ICBMs becomes the most important component of nuclear deterrence. China's new silos fields are located near China-Mongolia border, and one of the most important thing is they have identified three major cluster silos fields in this region. And also earlier they said that yes, there are silos fields, but we don't know how much is the capacity. But now they have held that they have loaded more than 100 ICBMs. So they have been able to tell what is the amount of ICBMs loaded also in the Pentagon report. So if you see China's nuclear stockpile status, it is considerably less only. The first position according to your US President Donald Trump, nuclear supremacy or your military supremacy or defense deterrence is first position USA, second position Russia, and very far off third position is China, his exact words. So why far off third position is China is because its nuclear stockpiles is still as low as 600. But Pentagon report also states that they are planning to increase it to 1,000 by end of 2030. So they are fastly increasing their nuclear expansion. So they have no options or they have no idea of bringing into an arms control treaty or entering into a tripartite agreement on arms control with either USA or Russia. So what is China's position on this? First and foremost, China tells that we are using these nuclear weapons only for self-defense and we use no first-use policy. If these reports are coming right now, it is just only to tarnish the image of China and create unnecessary tensions in the international community. This is what China is claiming. And now the expansion of your China does not seem like its held position of it is only for self-defense. It is trying to aggressively grow. So this will be very much clear that China has no interest in bilateral arms control or trilateral talks with USA or Russia. Now remember I spoke to you about the New START treaty. Your US President Donald Trump and before him is your US President Joe Biden. With him, your Russian President Putin had signed an extension of New START treaty from 2021. So that concludes in just another 2 months. The expiry of this New START treaty is going to be happening in another 2 months and there is no provision for continuation of this, which means they have to again come up with a treaty. And New START treaty is only applicable for your USA and Russia, not China, which means this is what your US President Donald Trump was telling. He was thinking of denuclearization with USA, Russia and China. So according to New START treaty, it limits the warheads to 1,550. Now, why exactly is China doing now? Why is it filling all these silos? First and foremost, Pentagon report tells that that is because your China is planning to win over Taiwan by brute force at the end of 2027. How is it trying to do that? It wants to fire missiles from 1,500 to 2,000 nautical miles from China to Taiwan. See, China already claims that your Taiwan is part of China. But through this, it wants to by brute force integrate Taiwan into your China. One of the most important thing is here to make sure that, see, in the region, Taiwan is there. There is below the most heated controversy of South China Sea. Above, Japan is there. I'll show it to you in the mapping. All these three are put under pressure. Alongside that, your US, who's there in the Indo-Pacific region, it will be an open deterrence in the face of USA. Understanding, this is what your China's factor is. Look at this. This is China. This is your Indo-Pacific. Let's say US comes this side. This is your East China Sea, Japan, your Taiwan, and this is the region of South China Sea. Your China claims to take over this Taiwan and put a message to both the factors of South China Sea, Japan and USA. Okay. So, at the same point of time, what else is happening in your China if you see? Chinese President Xi Jinping has also gone on an anti-corruption purge or drive where he is largely trying to focus on the corruption with regarding to your procurement, nuclear missile procurement sector, and also trying to target the first one is your People's Liberation Army. See, on the short term, it might reduce the readiness, but on the long term, you will have a structurally strong military which will aid and support your China. So, what does it mean for the world? Now, see, arms control when they keep on doing. Now, Russia was doing, so China is doing this. Now, because Russia is doing that, US is also telling, US President Donald Trump has told that they will also resume, okay, the nuclear operations, but we don't know what form it is going to take. But the arms control which is to be set in place now, when it expires and these people just keep on going head with each other, it is not good for neither these three countries nor for the rest of the world. So the nuclear deterrence is becoming more and more unstable. What does it imply for India? First and foremost, it affects India's let's say your China is having a good parity. It is raising its status in order to become in the same level of USA. This puts India's calculus of deterrence on China into a doubtful condition. At the same point of time, if you have to look into first thing what India should do about this, it has to build its credible minimum deterrence, and it should focus on second strike capability, ballistic missile defense, all of this without compromising security. Okay, India supports global arms control and also has to protect its own security first. So we'll see one possible prelims question from this topic. With reference to intercontinental ballistic missile, consider the following statements. ICBMs have a minimum range of 5,500 kilometers. Yes, correct. They are capable of delivering nuclear warheads across continents. Correct. They can be deployed from land-based silos, submarines and strategic bombers. This option, land-based silos, is correct, submarines is wrong. So because of that, option 1 and 2 are correct, which means A only. Understanding? With this, we have come to the end of the content. If you like our content, subscribe to our channel, hit the like button and share it along with your friends. Thank you.